This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 489.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster.
We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silvey, host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. No WordCamps next weekend, unfortunately, but I do want to share one other thing. I am hosting, once again, another virtual co-working session. I mentioned this in the adamsilver.com newsletter. If you're not subscribed to that, you should be. And that way you would know what's coming up as far as upcoming events in that side of the world. So from the agency side of things, or courses, whatnot, or coaching. But over, I did share that in the newsletter last week. So we had one last Wednesday, and the next one's scheduled for July 19th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time. I guess it's EDT right now. So if you're interested in that virtual co-working, it's via Zoom. Let me know. Shoot me an email or find me on I guess Twitter, at this point, or the new one, Threads. I'm there too. But I'll get you a link. Shoot me an email either way, or Adam at KitchensinkWP.com, or subscribe to the newsletter for the future. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Couple of things to talk about here. First and foremost, WordPress 6.3 Beta 3 is out. Man, these keep rolling out here. It's available for testing. The highlights are, what's the highlights? 34 and 40 new things have been fixed. 34 in Site Editor, 40 in Plus and Track since the Beta 2 release. So check that out as well if you're interested in testing that. That'd be awesome. What else? Oh yeah, WordCamp Dhaka 2023 has been canceled due to concerns of corporate influence on community decision-making. It's in Bangladesh. Sorry, they had to cancel it. There was just something going on there. It was scheduled for August 5th, so that's unfortunate. On the flip side of that same coin, WordCamp Rochester, New York, has just announced its dates, and there's a call for all things, meaning like speakers, sponsors, volunteers, etc. And by the way, that date is going to be September 30th, 2023 at the Rochester School of Arts in Rochester, New York. Also in the news, Ultimate Member 2.6.7 patches a escalation vulnerability for privileges. Apparently that was a big deal for those who are using it. WP Scan reported it that it was not fully patched prior to that. So now there is, it has been patched. So that's pretty cool. So if you're using Ultimate Member 2.6.7 or before that, I guess, you're going to want to update to the latest to have it patched. And lastly in the news, Vicky, I'm not going to say last name, I didn't get permission, but a listener to the podcast sent in a message regarding last week's episode, had the same issue regarding, having those edge cases. So there's that. And actually on that, one last note there, it turns out the edge case is even more of an edge case because we use Beaver Builder as our stack. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Beaver Builder was a culprit here because even when you do a search and replace, or even when you try to update the URLs, Beaver Builder stores content in the tables, but it doesn't automatically update. So we had to remove some images, delete them from the library, re-upload them, and things were fine. So there you go. But thanks for the voicemail, Vicky. Really appreciated having you chime in there. It was pretty cool. So that's it in the news. Moving on to segment 2, the meat potatoes of this week's episode. But first, a message from our sponsor.
If you're a content creator like me, then you're probably in need of an easy way to increase user engagement and reduce user attrition. Lucky for me, I found Bread and Butter IO. What does Bread and Butter IO do? Well, they help small businesses on WordPress to convert more visitors into customers. How, you ask? By making it easy to implement single sign-on, aka SSO, which will future-proof your website. A few of the major features that Bread and Butter provide are the ability to use SSO for content gating and lead capture, as well as universal newsletter sign-up. Bread and Butter also integrates seamlessly with other tools like Zapier, Slack, Google Analytics, and your email service provider. Like analytics? Well, Bread and Butter has you covered there too. With the ability to track page views, see where the users came from, and track the user journey, and all that data fully exportable. With full white glove service and 24/7 support, Bread and Butter IO is impressive. With prices starting at free, yes, free, you really have nothing to lose in trying it out. So head over to breadandbutter.io to learn more and sign up today.
And again, thanks to breadandbutter.io for their ongoing support of this podcast, keeping the lights on. Really do appreciate having you on board. All right, moving on. Segment 2, meat potatoes. This week, I am continuing the LMS alternatives to WordPress outside of WordPress itself. In case in point, we're talking this week about Podia. It's over at podia.com, Podia.com. So I wanted to set up a course. That's been the goal. What else is out there for coursework for LMSs? So I went over to the site, normal login, email, password, and pretty basic. Going to give you a 30,000 foot view here. I was then redirected to a page asking for where do you want to start with 4 options. And those 4 options were build an online course, make your website, sell digital downloads, or start your community. FYI real quick, there is a confirming email that comes in right away to the email that I used. It takes you to a page with how-to links for reviewing settings, getting payment set up, etc. But I didn't go check that email address right away. So that's kind of later, but you could come back and confirm it right away. But right after the bat of signing up, you're given 4 options. I went with, of course, build online courses. And then the next screen is, let's give your online course a name. I gave it a name, and then it takes me to a course layout page. On the very top header navigation, I see site, products, community, email, audience, and sales. Each one of those has a drop down or 2 with options for lessons, details, pricing, and availability, and a pseudo navigation area below that, actually. So under that, there are 2 dismissible boxes. One of them is how to build an online course, which is a link to a video, and one of them is edit your sales page. Now, below that section, this is like all the main body of a section. If you think about like WordPress with the dashboard, with menus on the left, stuff on the top, etc. Next section down in the middle of the page is, the new lesson and a new section. And below that is the template of the lesson itself. So right off the bat, you're put right into creating your course, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of a very fast track way of getting going. And below that is the template of the lesson. You have example section 1, a text lesson, example video lesson, example quiz. So doing as I've been doing in the past LMS testing, I wanted to go in, I went in and modified the preset course presented to me. I changed the title of the section, I added content, and as I didn't want video in the first part of my welcome section, I clicked add new lesson, and I was presented with the options of add text, add embed, add quiz, add coaching, add files. Just those 5. I went with text, pretty basic, easy to use, typical things you'd want to do with adding text. I could add a photo. You could drag and drop the photo on there, but there's no image wrap. Otherwise, pretty simple interface. You can add a video, but I realized that the link inside of a text module is just a link. If you want to have the video be the primary and show like the video itself, you need to use the embed module. It took me, half a second to realize that, maybe a second. I'm not that fast. Anyway, you can also see these things in action as the system allows you to preview the lessons and go between all chapters as well. So you click a little button that says preview, and it's pretty cool. So you don't have to close each session or each lesson separately and open it. You can kind of build it out, preview it as somebody would preview it in another tab, which is kind of nice. So I went through it all. More settings. After settings of the course, I wanted to see what it looked like from the front end as a new customer. And well, I couldn't see it. This was weird. I could not figure out for the life of me how to get out of draft mode. The course originally was in draft mode. Diving into the settings, I thought, do I have to upgrade my plan? It says it's free. So I checked if I needed to connect to PayPal or Stripe or email confirmation. That's what took me back to the email section I mentioned earlier. And finally, I found the answer. The free level lets you have full website, email marketing, full community, 1 download, 1 coaching product, draft courses, and draft webinars. Oh, and they keep 8% of the fees. So in order to get an actual course as a thing I could push out and sell or get people to sign up for, you have to upgrade to the mover plan. I thought that was weird. And we'll get to the pricing there in a second. But the mover plan gets you unlimited courses. Okay, so checking a few more settings. Coupons, yes, they work, but it doesn't work on the free level again. Looking at the communities, I created one because apparently the community is free in the free level. So I thought that was weird. Anyway, I published it, added a post, take the community live, not a big deal. So I'm guessing that Podia pushes more about communities than courses, and that's the free offer. So with that, by the way, the billing is $33 a month if you're billed yearly, and it goes up from that. You can have a couple other plans as well. But, I offer the fact that Podia does offer courses and communities and emails and websites, but I can't see myself moving to it just yet. I just don't know if that's going to ever happen. Actually, not yet, ever, really, because I didn't find that very cool, I suppose. I don't know. It works. It's fine. I think there's some other solutions that might be better. But the fact that it's an LMS type of system, but they don't let you have a free course, I thought was odd, whereas the community was free, but the course wasn't. But that could just be me and my bias. I don't know exactly how to word this for you. So there you have it. Anyway, yeah, so just weird that way. But if you want to check it out, by all means, it's an option. It's out there. It's an option. So yeah, I'm curious. Anyone out there using Podia? Let me know if you are. And if you pay, I guess if you're doing a course, you're paying for it. So and if you charge enough, I guess that makes sense. But the community is kind of nice if you're looking to do community type work. So anyway, all right, moving on. Segment 3, tip until the week. This week's tip is an ebook. It's called Refactoring WordPress Plugins. It is by Josh Pollock. He's a friend of mine. I've met him many a times at different WordCamps. I saw someone tweet this out that, he just released this new book. So I'll put a link in the show notes. It's over at pluginmachine.com. But it's a 5-part ebook. He walks through the different ways you can structure, refactor, and test the PHP code that you wrote for your WordPress plugins using dependency injection. Super interesting, and that title and that description way above my head, my pay grade. So, but if you are a developer and you're looking for a book about this, it's an ebook. Check it out. Link in the show notes. And congrats to Josh for getting that out. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that SpeakPipe function of the website like Vicky did. If you want to support the show, become a patron. I would appreciate that. KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. If you want to sponsor the show, you can do that too. There's a form on the website. And again, thank you to breadandbutter.io for being a longtime sponsor now. I really enjoy having them on board. And with that, go out and do some great things with WordPress. See you next week. All right. Bye-bye.